One day, you'll realize that growing up doesn't happen in a single moment. It's not the day you graduate, nor the day you start your first job. Real growth happens quietly. On a night when no one's watching, when you sit alone under a dim light, looking back at all the things that once made you cry, and somehow you just feel at peace. You no longer need others to understand your pain, no longer try to prove yourself through explanations, and no longer expect anyone to truly get you. In that moment, you begin to see that growth is really a long series of goodbyes. You say goodbye to dependence, to illusions, to the version of yourself that once believed the world was always kind. You learn to eat alone, to commute alone, to face life's uncertainties alone. You start to understand that loneliness isn't punishment, it's a kind of practice, a quiet discipline of the soul. All strength, after all, is born from solitude. Everyone must, at least once, truly experience being alone. It's a cleansing of the spirit, a breaking and a rebuilding. In loneliness, you finally see your truest self, not the person others describe, nor the one you cured online, but the quiet, fragile, yet still breathing version of you. Loneliness doesn't turn you into a monster, it makes you clear-minded. After walking through countless nights of not being understood, you begin to understand others, and you start to forgive yourself. Growth is the journey from wanting to be saved to realizing that you are the only one who can save yourself. So you learn silence, because you know real understanding doesn't come from words. You learn calm, because you know the world won't change for your emotions. Growing up isn't about becoming heartless. It's about realizing that some things you have to carry alone, and some roads you simply have to walk by yourself. Loneliness is the first threshold of growth, and many people spend their entire lives unable to cross it. They fear silence, fear having no one to listen, fear being forgotten by the world. So they chase noise, seek crowds, and try desperately to please others, as if being surrounded by people could somehow erase the feeling of being alone. But true loneliness isn't about whether you have people around you. It's about whether anyone truly understands you. You can laugh among a crowd, yet feel like crying on the way home. You can talk with friends, yet realize you can't say a single honest word from your heart. Growing up means learning to live with yourself in that kind of loneliness surrounded by people. Loneliness helps you see the truth of the world. When you're young, you believe the world is kind, that if you treat people sincerely, they'll do the same, that if you work hard, you'll be recognized. But life teaches you again and again. Not every bit of passion will be returned. Not every effort will be noticed. You start doubting the world, and then doubting yourself, wondering if you're not good enough, not worthy of love. But one day you'll understand. Loneliness is not a punishment, it's an awakening. It shows you that the world won't become gentler because of your fragility, nor harsher because of your strength. It simply is, and you must learn to live with it. When the noise around you fades, you begin to hear your own voice. The desires, fears, dreams, and exhaustion you once ignored rise quietly to the surface. You realize you've always known what you wanted. It was just too loud before, with too many other voices drowning out your own. Loneliness helps you rediscover yourself. You begin to see which people are worth holding onto, which things don't really matter, and which dreams are truly yours. Loneliness is a mirror that reflects your true self. It pulls you away from the noise of the world and makes you ask, what kind of life do I really want to live? The strongest moments in life aren't when you've defeated others. They're when you can keep walking, even when no one walks beside you. When you learn to eat alone, travel alone, watch movies alone, and think alone, you gain the freedom of an independent soul. You no longer rely on others to validate your existence, nor fear the emptiness of solitude. Loneliness teaches independence. Independence doesn't mean rejecting people. it means not depending on them. You can still love others, but you no longer need them to fill your void. You can still share joy, but you're no longer afraid to face pain on your own. Loneliness is the soil where self-growth takes root. It teaches you patience, calm, awareness, and self-love. It helps you understand that true companionship doesn't come from others, it comes from yourself. You must first learn to be alone before you can truly connect with others. If you fear solitude, you'll keep clinging to people, but when you can be at peace with yourself, you no longer need relationships to prove your worth. Loneliness isn't an ending, it's a beginning. It's the road to freedom. Only in solitude can you truly see yourself and decide who you want to become. As Nietzsche once said, every great soul has undergone the baptism of loneliness. Because only when you can stand alone will you no longer be swallowed by the noise of the world. The second lesson of growth is learning to carry things on your own. Loneliness helps you see the world clearly, but responsibility teaches you how to stand firmly within it. You soon realize that life doesn't get easier because you complain, nor does it become gentler because you're tired. It simply teaches you that everything you want comes with a cost, and that cost is responsibility. When we're young, we hope someone else will decide for us, carry the weight for us, our parents making choices, our teachers giving us answers, our friends standing up for us. But as you grow, the world grows quieter, replaced by the echoes of reality whispering, you decide. You carry it. Some people spend their whole lives running from responsibility. They blame others for their failures, fate for their pain. They like to say, there's nothing I can do, or it's not my fault. What they don't realize is that avoidance itself is a choice, and every choice comes with responsibility. Growth begins the moment you take ownership of your life, not waiting for someone to hand you answers, but understanding that no matter what others do, you still have to move forward. You stop complaining about hard work or bitter days because you know someone has to bear it, and that someone is you. Responsibility isn't oppression, it's direction. It pulls you out of confusion and turns helplessness into clarity. When you carry the weight of life, you also gain control over it. The hardest part of life isn't working hard. It's making decisions, because every decision carries consequences. If you choose to stay in one city, you take on solitude and drifting. If you quit a stable job, you take on uncertainty. If you chase your dreams, you accept the risk of failure. Growing up is about making those choices again and again between what you want and what you must. There are no perfect choices, only outcomes you're willing to bear. Many people fear making decisions because they fear regret. But regret is part of living. It doesn't make you weaker. It reminds you that you're moving. Taking responsibility means stopping the blame game. It's facing your choices, even when they hurt. In psychology, one of the clear signs of maturity is when a person takes responsibility for their own emotions, behaviors, and outcomes. Being an adult doesn't mean you stop crying. It means that after you cry, you still face the day. You no longer run from life because no one else is coming to clean up your mess. Responsibility is the quietest form of strength. It doesn't make you louder, but it makes you steadier in the storm. You begin to understand your parents' silence, their patience. You finally see that behind their quiet endurance was the weight they carried for you. And one day, when you become the one who must carry, you'll understand their world. Responsibility hurts, but it also matures you. Because only when you're willing to bear the weight do you deserve what comes with it. Someone once said, the hardest thing isn't being responsible for others, it's being responsible for yourself. And it's true. Many people appear disciplined, ambitious, successful, but they've never truly taken responsibility for their inner lives. They chase validation, follow society's script, and live to meet expectations, forgetting to ask what they really want. Being responsible for yourself means being honest. Honest about your desires, fears, laziness, and insecurities. It means no longer pretending everything's fine or trying to be someone else's idea of successful. Growth is learning to accept your imperfections while still choosing to improve. Responsibility isn't perfectionism, it's awareness. It's knowing who you are, what you're doing, and what you must face because of it. That's maturity. Many see responsibility as a burden, but those who truly grow find strength in it. When you work for your family, pursue your dreams, or push through hard days, that feeling of I must gives you direction. Responsibility is like a heavy stone pressing on your chest, but it's also what keeps your feet on the ground. It stops you from drifting, anchoring you in a chaotic world. And when you carry life's weight long enough, life starts giving you something back. Patience, discipline, endurance. Those traits aren't gifts. They're forged through responsibility. It sounds like a paradox. How can carrying bring freedom? But when you stop running from responsibility, you stop being ruled by fear. You know that no matter what happens, you can face it. That confidence doesn't come from comfort or safety. It comes from surviving the storm and standing again. When you learn to take responsibility for yourself, your life, and your choices, you gain true freedom. Not because someone else decided for you, but because you can decide for yourself. That's when you finally understand responsibility isn't a chain, it's a pair of wings. It lets you fly steady, fly far, and keeps you from losing yourself in the vastness of life. Growth is learning to carry pressure, loneliness, and persistence no one else sees. But remember, carrying doesn't mean forcing yourself to the point of collapse. True caring is conscious. It's strength with direction. Real strength isn't in resisting pain, but in staying sure, steady, and clear even when everything shakes. That's the quiet power of taking responsibility, and it's what turns survival into freedom. At a certain point in life, you'll realize that no one can truly comfort you anymore. You'll hear countless phrases, it's okay, you'll get over it, don't overthink it. But deep down, you know that some pain can't be soothed by words alone. Growth doesn't mean you stop getting hurt. It means you learn how to heal yourself through the pain. Like a broken bone that grows back stronger, healing is painful, but it makes you resilient. Healing is the most silent and drawn-out part of growing up. It doesn't come with the satisfaction of achievement or the excitement of chasing dreams. It's a long, dim tunnel you can only move through one uncertain step at a time. But it's during that time that you learn how to draw strength from pain, how to stand up again, softer yet stronger than before. In psychology, there's a saying, pain is the soul's way of growing. You hurt not because you've failed, but because you're transforming. Every ache is a small awakening. Pain strips away illusion. It shows you what truly matters, helps you let go of obsession, and teaches you how to cherish what you still have. The sleepless nights, the moments you thought you'd never recover, all of them are quietly reshaping who you are. The deepest growth rarely comes from triumph, but from the clarity that follows collapse. Sometimes you think fate has knocked you down, but really, it's nudging you to live differently. There are only two ways to deal with pain: avoid it or face it. Avoidance might feel easier for a while, but pain doesn't disappear. It burrows into your chest and turns into anxiety, anger, or despair. Facing it, though difficult, is the only real path to healing. The first step to healing is allowing yourself to hurt. Cry. Break down. Be weak. It's all part of being human. Just don't stay there too long. When the tears dry, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? True healing isn't about forgetting. It's about understanding and moving forward with that understanding. People often say time heals everything, but time alone doesn't heal. It's what you do with that time that matters. Time gives you a container, but you must fill it with meaning. Healing begins when you stop obsessing over the wound and start seeking its lesson. Time teaches you to let go, not by erasing, but by softening the edges. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means being able to remember without pain. Real growth isn't about saying, I'm fine, but about saying, it still hurts, but I can keep going. The wounded often turn to resentment, blaming others, fate, or themselves. But resentment is a double-edged sword. It harms others and destroys you from within. The moment you begin to understand, resentment loses its power. You start to see that those who hurt you acted out of fear or weakness, that your failures taught you humility and strength, that life's unfairness taught you to rely on yourself. Understanding isn't the same as excusing. It's how you free yourself. You realize you can't walk far while carrying anger. To move on, you must set it down. Everyone carries a past self within them, the impulsive, stubborn, fragile, even foolish version of who they once were. We often despise that person, but real growth means making peace with them. Tell that version of you who fell, it's okay. Thank you for getting me this far. Tell the one who loved the wrong person, thank you for teaching me discernment. Tell the one who broke down, you weren't weak, you were human. Making peace with yourself isn't giving up, it's understanding. It's realizing you're only human, imperfect and limited. When you can treat yourself gently, you'll begin to treat the world that way too. Someone once said, pain is the best teacher if you're willing to listen. When you stop running from pain, stop cursing fate, you begin to distill wisdom from suffering. You learn what truly matters, how to keep your dignity even when you're falling apart. Pain teaches humility, compassion, and grace, because only those who've walked through darkness truly appreciate the light. One day, the moments that once tore you apart will become the quiet strength beneath your tenderness. They'll make you steady, kind, and unshakable. Healing, in the end, is rebirth. You break apart, and piece by piece, you rebuild yourself stronger and more alive than before. The third lesson of growth is healing, but the fourth, perhaps the hardest, is learning to keep moving forward. Once you've learned to live with loneliness, to take responsibility for yourself, and to rebuild from pain, the next step is to keep going. Moving forward doesn't mean running from the past. It means carrying your experiences with you. Starting again with your scars, smiling through your tears, and choosing to believe even after disappointment. Along the road of life, many people get trapped in the past, believing that waiting will somehow bring things back. But time never walks backward. It only pushes you forward, whether you're ready or not. Growing up ultimately means learning to keep walking on your own. Nothing in life stays the same. You'll lose people, miss chances, and watch things you thought would last forever slowly fade. At first, you'll fight it, you'll want to hold on, to try again, but one day you'll understand that some people are only meant to be part of your story for a while. And when that realization comes, you'll start to let go. Accepting impermanence isn't giving up, it's waking up. Life isn't about clinging, it's about growing. When you can calmly say, it's okay, let it be, your heart becomes both softer and stronger. To move on takes courage, the courage to start again, no matter what happened before. Many people stay stuck because they're afraid of pain, of failure, of beginning again. But standing still drains you faster than falling down. The world changes with or without you. If you don't move, time will leave you behind. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It means walking forward with understanding. It's courage in motion, knowing the road ahead is uncertain, but stepping forward anyway. When you learn to walk out of your darkness alone, you'll find the world isn't as cold as it seemed. It was just waiting for you to take that first step so the sunlight could reach you. The real enemy of growth isn't failure, it's stagnation. Fear freezes you, but no path becomes easier because you're scared. If you don't move, nothing moves. The secret to moving forward is simple. Start. Even a small step, even a slow one. Action is the best cure for anxiety. It gives you back a sense of control and stops laziness from running your life. Move, even if it's just a little, because motion always beats stillness. When you lose your sense of direction, ask yourself, why am I walking? The moment you lose your why, you lose your clarity. You can be endlessly busy and still feel empty inside. You need a real reason. Maybe it's your family, your dream, or simply the desire to become a better version of yourself. The reason doesn't need to be grand, but it has to be true. When your actions align with your heart, you'll stop giving up so easily. No one can keep pushing you forever. You have to find your own source of drive, the quiet fire that keeps you walking through the night when no one's watching. We obsess too much over results, forgetting that the journey itself is what shapes us. Growth isn't defined by where you end up, but by the steps you take along the way. The slow ones, the painful ones, the ones that made you fall and get back up. When you learn to love the process, anxiety loses its grip. Life isn't an exam. There are no right answers. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to live honestly, to experience, to feel, to keep trying. That's when freedom begins. Growth isn't a straight line, it's a cycle. You'll fall apart, rebuild, and begin again. That's not failure, it's rhythm. Don't fear starting over. Every time you begin again, you're not starting from nothing, but from experience. You understand yourself better, the world better, and love better. It's never too late in life. If you're willing to walk, the road will always be there. Fate never shortchanges the brave. Growth means shifting from passively accepting life to actively creating it. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You can't control others' opinions, but you can decide how to live. When you stop complaining, comparing, and waiting, life starts bending in your favor. The world doesn't change for your frustration. It changes for your movement. The more proactive you are, the kinder destiny becomes. Being the master of your life doesn't mean you can do everything. It means you're willing to learn, to adapt, to grow. You stop fearing the unknown because you finally trust yourself to handle it. Growth makes you strong, but never forget to stay gentle. No matter how far you go, hold on to your warmth, your small joys. They're the sparks that keep life from turning numb. A cup of coffee, a song, a rainy walk, a small habit you love. Don't let life become only about musts. Let it also have wants. Passion is what keeps you moving farther and what makes solitude bearable. Moving forward isn't about reaching a final destination. It's about walking toward a clearer, freer version of yourself. And when you look back one day, you'll realize you're no longer that easily shaken person. You've become calm, grounded, and strong. You'll smile and think, I really did come this far. In the end, you'll realize that growth isn't a sudden transformation. It's a quiet accumulation over time. It's choosing to keep going through loneliness, learning to heal through pain, continuing to move forward in confusion, and still believing in light through the storm. Growth isn't something that happens in a single moment. It's a long river that slowly shapes you as time flows. Some people drift with the current, carried by fate. Others learn to steer their own course, guided by courage and clarity. True growth is learning to row your own boat in that river. We used to think that growing up meant becoming unbreakable, but real strength isn't about having armor. It's about having peace inside. You stop losing your temper over a single word. You stop letting others control your emotions. You stop panicking when life throws chaos your way. It's not that you've stopped feeling. It's that you've learned to give your emotions a place and a rhythm. You understand that life has no perfect script, only endless editing. And because of that, you stop blaming yourself and stop resenting others. That calm awareness, that inner steadiness, is the highest form of growth. Carrying everything on your own doesn't mean rejecting help. It means that when no one can help you, you still stand strong. You finally understand that some doors in life can only be walked through alone. Independence isn't coldness. It's the clarity of knowing that before you can love others, you must first love yourself. Before you can rely on others, you must first stand on your own. When you find that strength, love is no longer dependency and friendship is no longer need. In that moment, you stop fearing loneliness because you've become your own support. Growth isn't suppressing emotions either. It's learning to tame them. You still feel anxious, sleepless, or sad, but you're no longer ruled by it. You begin to observe your feelings instead of drowning in them. You understand that anxiety doesn't mean failure, and sadness isn't weakness. You allow yourself to cry, but afterward, you still keep moving. You feel pain, but through it, you see your direction clearly. That's not indifference, it's mature strength. Growth isn't numbness. It's staying emotional yet moving forward with reason. As children, we long to have more. As adults, we learn to let go. Growth is the shift from wanting everything to knowing what's worth wanting. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop chasing validation. You start knowing what to keep and what to release. You begin to clear the clutter from your life, lighten your soul, simplify your world. True abundance isn't about having a lot, but about being at peace even after losing. The road of growth will always come with pain. You'll be misunderstood, rejected, disappointed, and you'll fall many times. But every hurt pushes you closer to truth. Pain makes you reflect, teaches you humility, and helps you see what kind of life you truly want. Without pain, there's no depth. Without breaking down, there's no strength. Those moments you thought you couldn't survive were actually helping you grow, because pain is life's most honest teacher. When you've walked through loneliness, survived disappointment, and passed through darkness, you might think you've become cold, but real growth makes you gentle. You begin to understand others' struggles, to accept their differences. You grow quieter, but stronger, softer, but steadier. Gentleness isn't weakness, it's understanding. It comes from compassion born through suffering and kindness born through clarity. True maturity is gentle. The final step of growth is making peace with the world. You stop trying to change people. You stop expecting the world to accommodate you. You start accepting imperfection, finding balance in the messiness of life. You understand that some will like you and some won't. Some will understand you and some never will. But that's okay. As long as you are honest with yourself, as long as your path is steady and your heart still shines, that's enough. The one who can look at life with gentleness has already won. Growth is a soft kind of battle. No one gets through life easily. Everyone fights their own quiet wars. Some against fate, some against themselves. Growth is choosing to stand up again and again after every fall. It's finding meaning in solitude, wisdom in pain, and courage in the ordinary. Carrying everything on your own isn't a tragic slogan. It's a calm kind of strength. It's telling yourself in the stillness of night, it's okay, I'm still here. It's holding your direction when no one understands you. It's believing life is still worth living even after being broken. Growth isn't a destination. It's a continuous becoming. There's no finish line, only a truer version of yourself emerging with every season. When you can smile through the storm, Find peace in solitude and keep faith through confusion. You've already won. You no longer need anyone to prove your worth because you know it deep down. You can carry it all, and you can also light your own way. You are your own harbor and your own lighthouse. While others are still waiting for the light, you have already become it.